Hello and welcome to today's video. As you can see from the title, today we are going to be talking all about planners. I'm a big fan of using planners and always encourage students to use them, as I find them to be extremely helpful and beneficial. This video will be the first in a series on this topic, so be sure to keep checking back for more tips. One thing to keep in mind before we get started is that planners are going to look different for everyone. The important thing is that your planner works for you, includes the essential information, and allows you to succeed. If it does all of these three things, then you'll be good to go. I typically suggest that if someone is new to using a planner or is trying to get into the habit of using one regularly, that they begin with a very basic planner, meaning one that has minimal detail. This is what we're going to discuss today. I say that it's important to start out by using one with minimal detail because it can be really challenging to get used to a very detailed planner if this is new territory for you. So because of this, I would suggest starting out by using this beginner's version. And after a few weeks, when you're more comfortable, you can begin to add more detailed headings, which I'll be sure to explain later on in this video. So let's start by opening a new Google Doc that we can then turn into our planner. So as I've said in previous videos, before ever hitting this new button, we want to make sure that we are in the appropriate folder. So let's start by opening the 2020-2021 school year folder. And as we can see here from what we've done in previous videos, we don't have a planning folder. So we need to make one because otherwise we would just be leaving our planner down here in this folder or putting it in one of these folders that we have up here, which as we can see, there's none that is really an appropriate place for the planner to be. So let's create a new folder. You can title it Planning, Planner. As long as it has the general idea of planning within the title, you should be good. So we'll title it Planner, and then we're going to open that up and open up a new Google Doc. So again, as I've said in previous videos, we want to make sure that we always title a new document. So we can title this Planner 2020. So now that we've opened up a new doc and titled it appropriately, we can start creating the planner. So at its most basic, I recommend needing a minimum of 2 sections, or what I'm going to be calling headings in any planner. The first heading is going to be the name of the assignment. The second heading is going to be the due date for the assignment. Now, I want to reiterate one more time that this style that I'm going to be going over in this video is good for people that have never used planners before, or for people who have tried planners in the past that just haven't been able to figure out something that works for them. In future videos, we will be looking at adding more headings that will allow you to become more organized and have a better grasp of time management skills. But if you are new to using a planner, I recommend starting off slow at first. You'll need to get used to a planner in its most basic form, and then you'll be able to add more detailed headings onto that the more and more comfortable you become. So now getting back into this planner that we are talking about today, again, we are going to start off with 2 headings. The first is the name of the assignment, and the second is the due date of the assignment. Now that we know what our 2 headings are going to be, we want to start by creating the layout of this planner. So I am going to go to Insert, Table, and I'm going to create a table that has 2 columns because we have 2 headings. And then let's see, we'll make it have 10 rows. Again, this is going to be a vertical planner, and we're going to put our 2 headings up here in the first row. So we'll start by writing the name of the assignment, or if you wanted to, you could write the assignment name here. And then here we're going to write the due date. Now this is where you can get a little bit creative depending on what you like. For a heading, I usually like to have them in the center. I usually like to have them bolded. If you want to change the fill to yellow or something like that, again, this is where you can kind of visually make this how you want it to look. As long as you have these 2 headings, the name of the assignment or the assignment name and the due date of the assignment, those are the most important things. The reason why I decided to have this planner in a vertical format is because you can just continue to add rows by right-clicking and hitting insert row below. And you can just keep on doing that as you need to add more and more rows. Now let's write some example assignments down. So let's say you had to read chapter 1 of To Kill a Mockingbird. So we write read chapter 1 of To Kill a Mockingbird. And let's say that needs to be due on Friday, September 25th. And there we go. And then let's say you had a math worksheet, and that is due Wednesday, the 23rd of September. And then let's say you had a lab report due on Tuesday, the 29th of September. And then as you keep getting more and more assignments, you just need to write in what the assignment is and the due date of the assignment. Now, as you can see, I try to add as much detail as I can. So in this first example, I didn't just write read chapter 1 because you might be reading chapter 1 in various classes. So I said read chapter 1 of To Kill a Mockingbird. So just taking a quick glance at this, I can assume that this is for English class. You obviously would know what class this is for, but it's good to just include detail because sometimes when you get home and you're actually doing your homework, you might forget the small little details of what an assignment is. So include as much detail as you can. Again, instead of just writing worksheet, I wrote math worksheet. Lab report is typically only going to be done in a science class. So as long as you only are taking one science class, I'd say this is enough detail. I also recommend including not only the date, but also the day of the week. Again, just adding more detail is going to help stay much more organized. Where this, as we've discussed, is kind of a beginner's version of a planner, it's really helpful to start getting in the habit of adding as much detail as you can, even if we're only working with these two columns here. So as I already mentioned, the reason why I chose a vertical planner is because it's easy to just keep adding rows when needed. I'm going to show you what it would look like if we created a horizontal planner with the same headings. So if we go down here and then we click Insert, Table. So instead of having two headings up here with a bunch of long rows, which is the style of planner we just created, we're going to have two headings horizontally and make more columns. So if we title here, assignment name and due date, as you can see, I couldn't even fit assignment name within the width of this box, which essentially proves my point as to why with this style of planner, I prefer to have it vertically. Because if you were to make a horizontal planner, there's not much room to fit any wording. So for this style, I would say to skip the horizontal planner and just focus on a vertical planner. In future videos, when we start adding more headings and a little bit more detail, I'll show you the benefit of having a horizontal planner. But for the purpose of this video and the purpose of this style of planner, I recommend having a vertical planner. So after you've created the planner with the two heading names and you've started writing in the assignments that you have, it's really good to start getting in the habit of marking assignments once you complete them. Now you can do this in a variety of ways, but let's say you already read chapter 1 of To Kill a Mockingbird. I would recommend highlighting both the assignment name and the due date. And again, how you mark it is up to you. You can bold it as long as you remember that bolding means that it's complete. You can go in and change the color of the background like this. Let's see, you can go in and hit the strike through button, which just draws a line through it. Whichever method works for you is fine, as long as you stay consistent with that method and you remember that however you mark it, whether it's crossing through, bolding it, highlighting it, whichever method you choose, as long as you know that that method means that that assignment is complete and turned in. Now, obviously, you can see that I've created this planner in a Google Doc. Personally, I use Google for most of my work. I just find it really helpful to keep everything in Drive. It's always there. I can access it from different computers if need be. If you find having a digital planner doesn't work for you, this same method of having 2 headings can be done in a paper planner if you would like. All you would have to do is get a lined notebook and create this planner within that lined notebook. So just make sure that you have the same headings, the assignment name, and the due date, and you can just do this exact same thing, but in a paper notebook if you would prefer. I would just make sure that if you do use a paper format, you make sure that you definitely use a notebook. Don't use loose pieces of paper because those tend to get misplaced or lost. If you were using a notebook, everything will just stay in one place and there's much less risk of losing papers with assignments written down on them. Now this here is a planner in its most basic form. I would recommend using this planner consistently, meaning every day for at least 2 to 3 weeks before adding on more headings or making it into a different, more detailed style. As I've already mentioned, future videos will go into more detail about how to make planners more detailed. So be sure to check back after you've mastered this method for a couple of weeks. And you'll learn new skills and strategies to help become a little more organized and improve your time management skills. The big thing to remember is just be sure that you are comfortable with this method before moving on to a more detailed planner. Well, I hope this helped teach you how to get started using a planner. Again, don't forget to come back to watch more videos on this topic. Also, please comment below if there's a different topic that you would like me to make a video on as well. Thanks for watching and see you next time.